Good. Please, guys, feel free to ask any questions you guys have. I don't know if you had a chance to look at the website that we start building up for this course. Let me just show it to you, okay? It will be built. We just started a week ago. It will have a lot of material and a lot of stuff that you will need. We wrote a little bit some stuff that what people do in machine learning. Some of the stuff are from what is known as a deep learning. I will discuss it more as we go along, okay? There are some stuff, anybody in machine learning will tell you what is supervised studying, what is unsupervised studying. We're going to go over all of those as we go along. What is self-supervised learning? All of those are stuff for machine learning. I just want to remind you again, we have a full machine learning class, okay? I'm going to cover more than that. And if you're interested, I will be opening it to you. In fact, we did already open. Let me just show it to you. I think this is important. When you go into Academy City, you get to that website. And if you are, before you log out, if you are not logged in, like now, okay? You log in, I gave you a user ID and password, ML, lowercase ml, and the password is capital M, lower L, 122 hash, okay? And then you just sign in. After you sign in, you will see, it will take you, it will put right here a link for you. When you click on it, it will tell you, it will take you directly to the website, okay? And we're gonna have a lot of material. For now, we have some description. I will go over that a little bit today. And then you have the sessions. And I start putting some sessions that we're gonna cover, okay? Some stuff that I covered last time. If you go to the intro, I put some presentations for you. I'll go over them a little bit in a second. And then, by the way, you will see introductions, I put it almost empty. And I tell you why. First of all, the only things I put here, you can see like a video, and I do strongly recommend you guys go and see it, okay? This is our topics that you usually will have in machine learning. Now, like 10 examples that what people are dealing with, and you will see we're going to cover all of those examples. And please go, guys, watch the video, okay? I don't want to take too much time and just show you videos. I'm going to talk about those topics and more in depth on all of those, okay? But basically, I'm going to add here, and moreover, as we continue with this class, I will get some feedback from you, and I will expand some materials that is more that you are guys interested. By the way, this is a huge topic. Machine learning is a huge topic. Anyway, we talked about last time about this example. I built up this example using JavaScript. And why did I do that? And I will also cover, and you will see this is a very nice now, it's structured for you. And I will go into in depth about this one, okay? And you can play with it, in fact. And moreover, you can not only play with it, you can even change it a little bit, and you will find different solution. And we go over that as well, okay? I'm just going over a little bit what we did a little bit last time. And I will go today, I will spend some time on, and we will talk about this example a lot during the next few sessions, but I will, and you will see some, how do you study machine learning even? It's a very important and very innovative way that we have done in this course, and we're going to do as we go. Next, I will go and talk about face detections, and please pay attention. This is face detections, this versus first recognition. And there will be a lot more topics like NLP. It's how you deal with text and how you learn sentiments. We'll talk about all of that, and there will be, and we'll continue and add and up to whatever. Okay, so let's go back to the pre. By the way, look at those ones. Anyone that really wants to get some little knowledge about AI, I added here for you guys a nice presentation. Please feel free, go and read it. I will go over it a little bit, okay? And if you have question, I will tell you, this is the stuff we're going to cover. Moreover, we'll deal also with programming. So anybody wants to get into this one, you're really in the right place. Okay, so let's talk about those one a little bit, about what do we do in artificial intelligence. Okay, first of all, you learn, okay? And how a system learn? A system learns from data. You give them a data, you use some logic, use some mathematics, that's what we call algorithms, and then you learn from the data and you find solutions. Okay, and that's really the objective, is learning in order to solve problems. Okay, now the problems could be many examples. For example, this problem that we just showed here, the shortest, I'm in one place and I want to get to the other place. I talked about it last time too, and I will go over it many times. How do I find the shortest path? By the way, you know, as a human, I can see that there is possibility I can go this way, and I can go right directly here. I can go on the top and go down. Which one is the shortest one? Okay, and how does the computer solve something like that? So we have a problem to solve. We have some data. Which data do we have here? And that's very complex. Okay, by the way, this is really this problem being solved by what we call try and error. You try one way, the computer learns from his mistake, and that becomes to be his data, his previous attempt. Okay, that's the data. And then we use some algorithm. How do we learn from the data? There's the algorithm. And then eventually we solve the problem. Okay, now many times, okay, by the way, in here, the decision in the example here, it's really eventually I will be going according to the solution that I have. But sometimes it's part of solving the problem. I mean, it's the next, I solve the problem, I take a decision, and that's here. It's really, in fact, let me expand on that because this is really very important. By the way, and we will see in the future, if I'm just a simple person, I start walking from this point, I start walking. When I'm just living. What is my possibility? What decision making I have? I don't really have much. If I go here, I'll be out of the game. Going back, I can't. I'll be out of the game. Going down, I can't. This is a wall. All those black points, they are the walls. So I have to make a decision. I don't really have much decision to make. I just go straight forward. There's something says here. The only things I can go forward, here forward. But then when I get to this point, I can go to the left or to the right. I have to make a decision. How do I make a decision? And you will see it's a big deal as we go along in making a decision. And that's the computer can take an action. It can take making a left or making a right, okay? And then he make a decision. Well, if he made a decision going to the right, he eventually will find out he made a mistake. In the future, when he try again, he will not make going to the right again. He will go right to the left. And that's the way he's kind of learning, okay? So the learning process, decision-making, and improving that, that's a whole hell of a lot of process. By the way, anybody will learn just this example. You get really into a beautiful stage. This is one of the hardest problems. Not really the hardest, there's much more harder than that one, but it has a beautiful structure. How do you solve problems? And this is just one simple game, kind of a little game, but this game can apply to many, many scenarios in engineering, economics, finance, marketing, and you find you can apply the same logic. It's quite complex. There's many ways to solve it. I will I will at least talk about two of them. One I will demonstrate in the code as we go along. Okay, so what do we do in machine learning or in AI? Okay, artificial intelligence. We learn from the data. We solve problems and we make decisions. Okay, this is really, by the way, you're looking for a product. You're doing it all the time. You know, you're shopping around and you say to yourself, well, I'm looking for some clothes to go to a wedding. Okay, and you go to one store and you find what you like, lucky you, and then you go home. You might go to a store and you might find something, but you're not sure. Maybe I find something better in another place. And then you have to make a decision. Do I buy what I just saw and it's okay? Or I continue to search? And this is, by the way, criteria called explore or exploit. And we talk about that criteria. And by the way, this is really applied here in a very sophisticated way, which we also talk about it. But the beauty, really, I think one of the things that it's so nice about artificial intelligence is, as you go, you will notice this is a really kind of a process, and that's something you would like to take out from this kind of a course. Hopefully, the one that really want to be serious, you really even learn how to program it, and I will lead you. Okay, I will lead you really to see how you can really learn how to program, becomes to be a real artificial intelligence person. Okay, let's move on. Which kind of application to which industries AI apply to? Okay, frankly, I think almost anything you can think about. Healthcare, it's everywhere in healthcare. I don't know, in many places today, doctors that start kind of getting into the healthcare here in Israel as well. The doctors have a machine and they really help as a recommendation system. Okay, in finance, trading, there's a lot of algorithms of how you trade. And I will give examples in all of those. Manufacturing, all the robotics, it's all AI. Frankly, I don't think that you can afford, especially your generation, not to be aware to what AI is or not be part of these revolutions that are happening out there. By the way, I will focus also on ChatGPT and I'll give some examples. And I'm almost sure that many of you are already using it. I would be surprised if you are not. But you have no idea how much is powerful and how much you can utilize it to develop stuff in AI, which is beautiful. Manufacturing is everywhere. Robotics is everywhere today. Okay. What about programming? I mentioned last time, okay, and here you have it's nice in a nice presentation. We talked about data. We need to have data, okay? We study from the data. So one thing you need to learn, how do I organize data? Many people skip it. They think data, it's not like, you know, if you study computer science, you many times think data has nothing to do with AI. AI is only algorithm. Wrong. AI has a big things of how do I manage data? How do I manipulate data? How I change data so I can learn from it better? Okay, so data structure is extremely important. Then algorithms. Many of you, I don't know how many of you like mathematics. You don't really have to know as much as used to be, but if you really want to take yourself seriously, mathematics is good. Develop some skills, and you will see I will emphasize as we go along. Okay, we talk about learning algorithms, how you solve algorithms. Some of them have a lot of logic. The mathematics could be really complex. Many times you can at least understand the logic of the algorithm, even if you are a little weak in mathematics. By the way, this mathematics is very complex. Let me just mention in natural language processing, it looks like you're dealing with only languages, but believe it or not, it's a very sophisticated mathematics. When we talk about neural networks, which we will, I will show you how they solve it. It's quite complex, but thank God you don't have to remember all of that. You don't have to know all of that, but at least to appreciate or at least know that it's all depend on a lot of very advanced mathematics, okay? Then, finally, I also will go to the other extreme. By the way, this example, I will talk about face recognition. And you will see, let me just give the example. I did it last week, okay? I will go over it again. If I choose this guy, and I added a little bit to it, I just chose a person, that person going to be analyzed. And by the way, you can see, I expanded a little this example. The algorithm have found his face, but he also identified if he is a male or a female. It's also gave me an estimate of his age. All of those, by the way, you can do without knowing mathematics. The mathematics already have been done for you. I will go over it. I think it's wonderful for you to learn how to do. And moreover, not only I will go over the code, I will show you how you can use ChatGPT to, in fact, it's one of the examples that I will start, because that will be an easy one relative to this one. This is a little more complex, okay? This one a little more complex. But this one, even without knowing the mathematics, you can be useful. This one, I don't think I would, this one I can do. The next one, which is the video, I haven't uploaded it to the server yet. And this one is, it's another example. You don't really have to know mathematics as much. Here we have, anybody knows Michael Jordan? This is one here is a little older. And here on the left side, I have 3 guys, and those are different people. And I say, out of those 3 people, who is Michael Jordan? Can the computer analyze the face of Michael Jordan? And then go into the picture on the left side and say, well, it's not the first one, although it looks like maybe. It's not the last guy, but it's the middle one. Okay, and then we'll talk also about expression and a lot of other things as we go along with video analyzing. Unfortunately, the video I won't be able to show you. You will have to go to the website and see it yourself, because I'm using the Zoom. But I will demonstrate, I will talk about it, and then you can try it at home. I might even upload some slides, and then at home you can test it yourself. By the way, you can go into this session, everything's here. You can go and try every example here by yourself. It's all handy and it's right there. But why I'm showing those 2 examples, and why those are the 2 that I'm going to start with, because those one is mostly knowing how to program, understanding some libraries. That's what I'm emphasizing here in this one, libraries. And those libraries, when you know them, you can do a lot of things. By the way, this face recognition, face detections, knowing expression if the person is happy or sad, and we'll go over that, especially next week when I talk about video. And those kind of things you can do without knowing the mathematics. Knowing how to program, you becomes to be extremely useful. So since it's such a huge area, you can become to be a good programmer, and you can really even search for a job, not having to know all the mathematics. Some of the stuff you will need to know a little bit, and that's also, the more you know, the better it is, and you can expand your capabilities, okay? Let's move on. We talked about, this is the general knowledge you need to know in programming, okay? Here, I will emphasize Python. I talked about Python last time, and I talked about JavaScript. Frankly, 80 to 90% of people in AI using or Python or JavaScript or together. All these websites have been developed mostly with this one is really now, it's pure JavaScript. So if you know JavaScript is one language, you already can do a lot. Not everything, because a lot of things are very good in Python, but JavaScript is such a powerful language as well. And many libraries that I mentioned before are available also in JavaScript. When you need to do something heavy duty means a lot of analysis, you will need to use Python. You also will need to use databases, which you don't have you don't have an access to it through JavaScript. I will have to go online, and that will slow you down big time. So if I really want to say, I will really strongly recommend study those two languages, at least start with those two, and you really don't need anything else. If you know those two, you are doing very well. Okay. And by the way, I mentioned, and there's also a presentation. I will go over that quickly later on. If you know those two, you are doing extremely well. JavaScript has all of that. You can develop website, web-based AI. A lot of time, even in the mobile today, you can use HTML5. The same application can work also on from your mobile. Okay. I don't develop myself a lot on mobile just because I'm doing very heavy stuff, but the logic and capability of JavaScript is right there for mobile. User interface, all those screens that you see, they're all developed in JavaScript, okay? JavaScript have enhanced big time in the last 3-4 years, and they have done something called Ajax. Ajax is really like you activating something, and it can work behind the screen, and you can continue working on your screen, and when it's done, it will come back to you and let you know that it's developed, okay? It's very powerful. Python, as I said, there's many libraries. Google have adopted the Python as their language, everything. There's a library called TensorFlow. By the way, many things in the face recognition, it's using TensorFlow behind the screen. You don't really have to know that. But when you're getting into the heavy stuff in automation and computer vision, a little deeper stuff, medical analysis, huge databases, Python is the right thing that you will need to use. Okay. I just said about TensorFlow. TensorFlow, in my opinion, is the most advanced library out there. Almost there is nothing that you cannot really do with it almost. And by the way, I don't know how many of you know tensor mean, it's like array. An array is how you organize, let's say a table. In a table, I have rows and columns. This is will be a tensor. We call it tensor of 2 dimensions, rows and columns. But if I have also pages, you know, in every page, I have rows and columns. But if I have also pages, several pages, there will be 3 dimensions. That will call tensor in 3 dimensions. Flow, the beauty in that about you can move data, okay, and it can move from one place to another place as an array of several dimensions. And every place that the data is moving from one place to another one, in every, let's call them a station. They're going moving from one station, that station like doing some calculation, manipulating the data, the tensor, and move to another. That's why it's called TensorFlow. It's a piece of art. It came out in 2015. It looks like a long time ago, but in our life, less than 10 years ago, it's a big news and have been improved big time in the last several years. So tensor, for your knowledge, is like an array. You can think about it as a table or a series of tables or a series of tables. All of those are what you have in this library. Moreover, and you will see today in artificial intelligence, one of the most important component known as a neural network. And I will go over it. Okay, it's good for this introductory. It's that neural network becomes to be one of the most important component in artificial intelligence. Many people, the older one, they will talk to you about decision trees. They will talk about SVM. They will talk about naive Bayes. All those algorithms belong, they're still good, but they are belonging to the past. 90 to 95%, they are based on neural network. So that's another component. And TensorFlow handle neural network in its structure, okay? Now, moreover, it's allow you to develop a model and train that model okay? And after you train that model, you can send the result to somebody else. Okay, it doesn't mean much now to you, but just remember that we said we're learning from data, and learning, after you learn, you have to summarize your learning. And then after you summarize them in some way you can think about it as a model. And the model takes all your knowledge that you learned from the data. I can send that model to somebody else, and he can apply it to solve problems from the stuff that I have learned. So this is beautiful. You can learn, and you send that model to somebody else or to yourself. Moreover, I might develop the model on a supercomputer. We have in Academy City, we have supercomputers, okay? By the way, one day, if you guys will pick on that and you want to develop, you're more than welcome. We'll help you to even develop website. I will mention it a little bit today, okay? And we have a supercomputer that works extremely hard, work on GPU, not CPU, GPU, which is like 500 times than a CPU, a regular computer. And after you develop the model, you can put it on a simple computer or regular computer. It works just fine. Okay, so TensorFlow, it's one of the most advanced library out there. Don't be discouraged. It's something that takes several months, even years to study this library. But everything, like everything's in life, even if you want to be a cook, you can be a cook in 1 month. Yeah, you study many years and you cook a lot until you becomes to be good. And the same thing's about here. Okay. Now, I mentioned before, algorithm, if you remember, we have data, okay, and we develop a tree. I mentioned before, linear regression. If you study economics, if you study all of those stuff, everybody study linear regression. Later on, you study nonlinear regression. This belongs to the past. Neural network is the game today. But neural network, it's only one. You can combine many of them, and you make it very complex and very sophisticated that you can solve. By the way, all these face recognitions, robotics, all of those based on neural network. And then later on, by the way, let me go back a little, okay? I talked here about multi-layer neural network. So this is really a sophisticated set of neural network. And when you combine them, it can solve a lot of problems. Later on, we talk about convolutional neural network. This is it's a piece of art. It's amazing stuff. This is based also on neural network, but the way it solves problems is different. And a simple one, by the way, replace regression, linear regression, if you know what linear regression is. Then we will talk also on recurrent neural network. Those topics are very advanced topics in AI. And all of them are based on neural network, as you can see the name apply, okay? I think we have this is double for some reason. Opio, I don't think if you see that, I think we had that twice. Yeah, I didn't know why it's twice. Maybe you want to move it. Okay. Computer vision, and there would be more topics. I didn't want to fill it up and then you get overwhelmed. Okay. Okay. So neural network, this is the game, really. But I advise there is a lot of more algorithm. I didn't really want to put them here. SVM is one of the leading one, used to be at least. The logic is beautiful if you want to study the mathematics of algorithms. But thank God you don't really have to go and do all of those. Okay. Let's say about examples, okay? Okay. As I mentioned before, there's nothing that almost doesn't touch AI is not there, okay? By the way, I don't know, you probably have seen security camera when going to a building. And now in Israel, many places, you go to the office, okay? You don't even have to have a card or whatever. The camera sees your face, recognize you and let you go, okay? So this is something that an eye. It's not only detect your face, it's also recognize who you are. It's a very example, like the Michael Jordan, we're gonna go over it, okay? Comparing of product. By the way, you probably know those, and many of those applications, you're using them. I just recently was playing with vegetables and fruit, or when I go on vacations many times and go for a walk, and I see a tree I'm not recognizing, you probably know those applications. You know, you take a pictures of the leaves, and automatically will tell you which kind of a tree it is. Okay, it's beautiful stuff, but that's really just little things. There's so many other examples. Okay, personalized recommendation. I won't go over all of them, and you're more than welcome to look into that. Recommendation, you know, let's say you probably see that if you have a membership in Netflix or anything, it's follow up on what you have which kind of movies you have seen, analyze it and recommend something that most likely you might like it. I don't think I'm saying something you don't know. You feel it and you see it almost everywhere. Okay. This one you probably have heard a lot, self-driving cars. That's really what Tesla is working on and so many other. By the way, there is already extremely safe cars that can drive by themselves. There's a lot of legal issues why it's not already out there. Okay, and that's what's stopping the development of that. It's really more legal. But just think about it. What does it mean that a car driving by itself? Okay, okay. And many of the stuff that a car learns how to drive, it's based already on somebody. Okay, by the way, if you really want to think about how a car have learned how to drive by itself, it's very similar to what we're going to go over here. Here, we're going to learn how do I get from this place to this place. Think about it, this is like a road. And how does a car knows how to go from this place to this place? Moreover, you're probably using Google Map when you want to go from one city to another city, correct? And this Google Map show you most of the time the shortest path or the fastest path, depending on how you specify it. And this kind of actions that you have environment agents solving it, you can take a car that doesn't know anything. It will first time, it will try to go to the bottom, it will get stuck there. It will write it in the computer, in his memory. That's what we say in the Q table. And then next time he's not going to attempt even going here. So this is the way we're teaching self-driving cars, but of course, they're not going to give everybody a car and then the car will have to learn for several months. They're already training the computer of the car for a long time, and then that model being copied to all the cars they're going to sell in the future. So, and then in the future, when you're driving even in Uganda, okay, it will even do it even better because it will take a lot of things that has to do in Uganda. But that's coming. But this is really very exciting field of self-driving cars. It can help a lot. Just think about it. You're going to work. You go with your car, and let's say your wife or your spouse or your boyfriend needs the car, and then you just leave the car to drive back to wherever you ask him to go to. And then the car can drive around, and you might be even seeing empty cars driving by themselves, going from one place to another. Then you will need less cars than you have now. If you and your spouse or your girlfriend needs 2 cars, you might need only 1 in the future. Okay, but that's a whole topic. AI is everywhere, it really is everywhere. Let me talk about something that you probably don't hear. You hear a lot of artificial intelligence. You might hear the phrase that called deep learning. Deep learning is part of AI. Deep learning, in another word, I can make it simple, it's much more than that. It's when we talk about neural network, it's combining several neural network becomes to be a deep learning. So multi-layer neural networks is a deep learning, but sometimes people even skip it. It's okay, it becomes to be so popular, but convolutional neural network is definitely deep learning. Recurrent neural network is definitely something I skipped here. Reinforcement learning, something that I'm going to cover here. This is, by the way, is reinforcement. This is a deep learning. It uses a lot of neural network behind the scene. Okay, although this specific one, okay, it does not use a deep neural network. But just imagine if I had a screen that is not 10 by 10, it would be 1,000 by 1,000, like mimicking the map of Uganda, all the road in Uganda, okay? Then you will need neural network, and I will talk about it and I'll give examples of that in the future. This specific one, it's a reinforcement learning. It's part of deep learning, but it doesn't include in it yet the deep neural network that it's many times in those problems when you try to build up this Q table, you will need it because the possibilities are so big that a regular computer, it will take forever. You won't be able to solve it. It will take it forever. But the deep learning neural network is able to help it to solve it, which is beautiful. We mentioned a little bit robotics, manufacturing, and all of those ones, okay? This is what the future, believe it or not. We have, I don't know if you know, a company called Teva. It's a pharmaceutical company. It's one of the biggest, it's the biggest here in Israel, but even worldwide. They have a huge warehouse right here. It's a city called Shoham, and it's huge. It's all managed by robotics. Trucks coming and bringing all the material to make the medicines, and only robots really downloading all the material and putting it in the warehouse. All the manufacturing done in the warehouse by robots. And then even loading back to the truck the medicine themselves, distributions, making the plan on how to distribute, how much to manufacture. All of those are done by robots. It's amazing. I will just mention this one. By the way, this is already becomes to be a topic that is known for at least the last 20 years, becomes to be known, and it's growing. I don't know if you know, the next generation of computers are quantum. Quantum is quite complex. I don't know if you know in physics, okay? Quantum is really one of the hardest topics in physics. And quantum computer, it's literally using a giant computer. It's a computer that has to be in freezing situation, almost total freezing, minus 270, like 3 degrees above absolute freezing. There's no lower than minus 273 Fahrenheit, okay? Now, this is the future. You want to have a computer, you know, you will use the internet, and all those Amazon, Microsoft, Google, they're going to switch all of their stuff into quantum. I know how many of you know a company called NVIDIA. NVIDIA is just very popular in the last year. I really strongly recommend you go into online. Let me just open it for you. Yeah, look into it. It's beautiful. Okay, a company called NVIDIA. It has to do, that becomes to be one of the biggest company in the world. They are very close. I believe this year, they already passed once to be the biggest in the world. It went down a little bit, but it's going to go up. I'm almost sure in the next year, NVIDIA. Yeah. Why it doesn't like me? Why it doesn't come?
I think their ticker is.
Huh? How do I spell NVIDIA? I just
Their
had it.
ticker is NVDA.
There we go. I have it here. I follow it all the time. I do follow it all the time. This is an amazing company, by the way. Look at what happened in a year, okay? If you invested your money in NVIDIA, okay, a year ago, exactly a year, okay, you tripled your money. It was $44, kind of, okay, it's almost 130 now. 3 times, if you put $10, you have $30. You have $1,000, you have $3,000 now in a year. It's an amazing company, and it's growing like crazy. And what makes NVIDIA special? They are developing the chips that can process AI, and that's why NVIDIA is such an important company. Follow it, okay? There was a little decline here in the last couple months, and has to do with the interest rate in the US, but look at that. It jumps all the way back. It's very close to his top. Now, this company, you won't believe how much it's worth. It's just unbelievable, okay? This company worth 3.1 trillion. Trillion means 1,000 billion, okay? It's amazing. This company worth more than countries, okay? Many countries are not, you don't have that wealth as this company. It's bigger than Google today, you know? If you just want to compare NVIDIA, and all because it was about 1 trillion, it's worth 3 trillion today in a year, tripled its size. It's amazing. And it's not going to stop. It's going to continue like crazy going up. If you look at Google, just for comparison, now Google is also a high-tech company, of course, yeah? And if you look at Google, okay, how much was Google a year ago compared to today? So if you invested a year ago from $130, you'll have 167. You have about 10, 20% higher. About how much? 30%, something like that. Okay? This one is 3 times. What's the value of Google today? Google is only 2 trillion. So NVIDIA it's 50% more than Google. Everybody hear about Google, but not many people know about NVIDIA. Now they do, okay? And NVIDIA is one of the leading company of AI today. And it's amazing. It's all because those chips to process the data, you need a supercomputers. And the industry is moving from using a CPU to GPU, and there's a lot of other ones in the middle, and they're moving to quantum. And NVIDIA is one of the companies that actually is out there. Okay, I hope this convinces you that you are dealing with a topic that's not going to go anywhere. It's just going to continue and develop, okay? I hope this it's not even introductory. If you notice, this is my problem when I teach a course. I always put the introductory in the very end when I finish the course. Then the people really see what we cover. But we're going to cover a hell of a lot. This presentation gives you a little bit on what is AI. Please, I will go quickly on that. By the way, this is a beautiful example. You can see all the topics. We're going to cover all those examples, those 10 ones, and you have a link for it. And just for generally, okay, look at those ones. Let me just say something about a framework of programming. Okay, I mentioned last time Django. If you really want to get into this industry, not just to learn about it, but also actually learn how to implement it, Django is a wonderful framework, very popular. You please go and look into it, okay? You will see a lot of people use it. It's a beautiful framework, okay? It's managing, you can do almost everything you can imagine with this one. And the beautiful thing, it has database, it uses Python. I said Python, database, and JavaScript. I mentioned that you have everything you need for AI. And the most beautiful things about Django is free. You can download it from the internet. You just have to know how to do it, okay? There's a lot of places teaches those ones. You have also in Academy City, you can talk to SEO and you can talk to Opio and join them. They teach those stuff, okay? Look at who is using Django. Almost everyone, startup companies, big enterprise, and I will mention a few of them, okay? Any developer, by the way, any one developer, you can go online and you see people giving services online as being a Django developers, okay? The advantage of Django, it really is it's relatively easy to program with Django. If you know Python, you know JavaScript, you're doing good. It's allow you to integrate with database easily. In Academy City, we added another layer on top of it, which makes your life even easier. I have not, I mean, Django is not owned by anyone. It's great product that people like you guys that learn Django and they continue developing and adding, like what we did in Academy City. We developed something, we added to Django, and that's the way Django is being developed. So nobody is really making any money out of Django per se, and many people supporting it just because it's beautiful things that have secured, is extremely secure. You don't have to think about it. It's built into it. If you have simple project and then you want to make it bigger, Django is excellent for making it bigger. And I will show you examples in a minute as we go along, okay? Community, this is very important. There's a lot of people using Django. So if you get into a problem, you don't know how to solve it, you're going to Google, you put it in, boom, you're getting a solution. I will give you an example if I have time today, if not next time, okay? You know, almost everything you can, you know, content management system we developed by the way e-learning with that stuff, e-commerce website, you name it, almost every application you can think about it. Our time is a little limited. I don't want to, but I mentioned Django and Python, Django and JavaScript. You can go over it and see. Django and relational database. If you take the class with SEO, they go into that relational database. This is where you put the data in mostly. It's a very powerful. By the way, even the database, it's free. You just need to know. And the knowledge is very valuable. Knowledge is extremely valuable. Okay? Now, you probably know, I'm almost sure that most of you use Instagram. Am I right, guys? I'm almost sure. Is that right, guys? Timo? Okay, anyone? Is that right? Opio? Instagram. Everybody almost uses Instagram. It's being developed by Django. Believe it or not, it's so powerful. So Instagram that you all see and use and love, it's being, and now it's being Pinterest, that's presentation, a lot of other stuff. Mozilla, you probably know. There's many of them. You can go online and check. This is just a few examples that you can. I hope I convinced you to learn JavaScript or Python or together. Django is a nice organized together for you. So it's make your life. And this one just a comment. There's many. By the way, Django is not the only one that is good, but this is very popular. And it has the languages that a lot of people use. PyCharm is developing, like you can use Django inside the PyCharm. For example, this is PyCharm. I myself use PyCharm. By the way, it's also for free. Believe it or not, most of those stuff are free. Okay? And many things will go over. Example, I will tell you. Okay? You build up a whole application. Let me show you example. This web page that you guys go into, this one that you logged in, this is developed in Django. This was developed in Django. Okay? The whole things. And when you, after you log in and you go into here, this web page is Django. I just tried a lot here to make it so it would be a lot of JavaScript. And there's a lot of reasons why. Because some of stuff, I want you to use it and you might don't have a powerful computer. So JavaScript takes less resources than Python. And that's why I wanted to do most of the stuff in JavaScript. You don't have to load a lot of heavy libraries, okay? But we will do also in Python a lot of the examples, okay? So all of this is being developed in JavaScript. Let me see, here we go. You see Academy City, and in the end, it's, if I go, I can open another library, another application that we have done in Academy City, and you'll see there's so many applications we develop in Django. By the way, I'm promoting Django, but I have no stake in Django. I just really believe it's good. It's a good community. It's free. Nobody trying to make money out of Django. And I think it will be your benefit to join them and enjoy it. So for example, this is another application that we actually utilize called training as a whole. The reports, I won't let me in because I have to log in. I logged in as MS. You won't be able to go there. I have to log in as a different user. You will get me now. Okay, how do I supposed to write training? that right? Yeah, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. This is a beautiful website. This is a real website. This is actual one of our customers. By the way, this is ready for a huge army, one of the biggest countries, you know, in Africa. Okay, this is all developed in Django. You can go and see the dashboards, and you can look at the dashboards, and this is give you a lot of data about, let's say, in here, you're moving into hierarchy. It's beautiful things. And this is a dashboard. You can see equipment, okay? You can report. All of this developed by Django. So, but I'm not going to go over all of that. You see, it looks like a, but this is just to emphasize that I strongly recommend, guys, that you go and learn those languages. Will help you a big deal in this course. I will utilize the few minutes we have left to introduce one more topics that we're going to spend a lot of time next time. ChatGPT. How many of you have used ChatGPT? I'm almost sure you did. Does anyone have not used ChatGPT? Don't be shy, by the way, guys. Anybody? Can you hear me, guys?
Yeah, right. But I think all of us have used ChatGPT before.
Yeah, the reason I'm mentioning it, in this course, I'm going to open your eyes to, if you learn a little programming, and today, lucky you, in my generation, we had to learn in the hard way, okay? We really had to learn in the hard way. You can learn in the easy way today. And I'm going to demonstrate, okay? I'm going to demonstrate, okay, right now. And in fact, to make your life nice and convince you how powerful you're lucky. You're living in a beautiful era. And if you're smart and you're having motivation, I wrote here how I built this application. I know there's material you need to know, but it really helped me a lot using ChatGPT. So let me open ChatGPT. If you don't have an account, just go register, okay? By the way, it's very good. You can build up a website for yourself, the hosting it for you. I don't need it because I have my own framework. But if you really want to do something, you just write here. Let's say I want to write a simple, by the way, when I wanted to build it up, I didn't want it to spend all my time. I know how to do it, but it would take me much longer. So I wrote to you what I did, the first one. You see number one here? This is really using AI to develop AI. You can think about it this way. Take this sentence, such a simple one. Reinforcement code. And I know this stuff. I just didn't want to spend all my time starting from scratch. So I wanted him to help me. So if you just go here and just type it in, see the beauty. Okay, I misspelled even reinforcement. He recognized it immediately, but he automatically fixed. Look at it. See the beauty. It's just right there. And I asked him to write it in JavaScript. I'm going to have asked him for Python. I will do something. We'll do it with Python. I can ask him, give me the code for Django. So it will combine Python and JavaScript together. And I've tried it. Believe me, it does a beautiful job. Here we go. It's all automatically telling me about environment, state, all the beauty stuff. Here we go. This is JavaScript. Look at that. This is all JavaScript. It define a maze, okay? Then it define the initializing Qtib. You need to know what it is. I will talk about it in the next time, okay? In the next few even, okay? This is a big, big topic, okay? It's a beautiful topic. Honestly, you learn this one, okay? You already have done something. You have jumped your knowledge. This is a beautiful knowledge in AI, okay? Here we go. You wrote me all this code. Is it beautiful? Now, I can recognize immediately what it does. I know that there are certain things I would like to improve. By the way, he made me an example with 4x4. What is this one? This is, by the way, I wanted 10 by 10, you will see. I did the whole thing. He gave me an example of a small one, okay? And by the way, here we go. I'm telling him, make it. I helped him to tell him, don't give it to me so much code. I want you to organize it a little bit for me. I know what it's supposed to be. I already know. But it's helped me that I don't have to write all the code, type it by mistake. And this code works, by the way. There's some mistakes, which I fixed. But I told him, here, I was just exploring myself. And I told him that's the next things I told him. So he's going to fix it a little more, organize the code more. You see, he's talking about the maze. You were saying to me, he talked about agent now. He didn't have agent before. He didn't specify the Q learning. I wanted him to do it a little more specific. He called it environment. I wanted him to have an environment. I was more specific later on, as you can see. This one already better for me. I know how it's supposed to be. Oh, by the way, you see is when I told him improve it, I think he made the algorithm to be even better than the original he gave me. So this is the reason I put those stuff for you guys. Here we go. I told him improve. He improved the, later when I saw the code, the algorithm, I already know several of them. I told him improve the code and he did it. So say it's still cooking. And in the end, it even give you an explanation of the code. You know, it gives you explanation of the code and all of that stuff. Here we go. This is beautiful. It tells you everything. But you do need to know. You can't really do it yourself unless you already know what the environment does, what the agent learning means. Okay. And here, by the way, I told him improve the code. So he went and improved the algorithm. Do it yourself over time. It won't mean much to you, but after the next session, we'll talk about this example. Okay. And over time, utilizing JetGPT, you will really be able to improve big time. See, now you have the environment is extending, if you notice. They make the examples more clear. They put a function of move, which I find didn't have it before. That's a lot of improvement if that. And I did some. Then I told him to show me the code for user interface. So I wanted also how to build that example right here. And he did it for me. And we'll do. Then I told him to improve by specifying an agent object and environment object. So this is a better way to divide the work in the code. By the way, a whole field in computer science is designing your code, designing your project. That's a big deal. Now, it's not coincidence that I asked him, you know, this code is good. By the way, this is already good. This is a very good, it's still cooking. It's already good, okay? And you can go over and start doing it, and it's just perfect. But I wanted it to be really clean. I asked him today, then I told him to give me a style. This style, when I asked him the style, he make it looks nicer. You see, give me to put colors, the beginning and the end, and put those one in black instead of just 0 and 1. And he gave it to me. Beautiful. And then in the end, I asked him to give me an example of 10 by 10. I didn't want to change the whole thing myself. So I asked him to, by the way, I can even do it in the middle. You see, we'll do it. If I go here and I ask him to, since this example is only 4 by 4, I want an example of 10 by 10. So just go here. Bingo. Now, this is different than what you guys usually think about JetGPT. This is actual programmers utilizing JetGPT to develop artificial intelligence. Isn't it beautiful? Really, I think it's beautiful. By the way, here we go. You see, he's making now an example of 10 by 10. There is a little error that he had, and I fixed it. Okay? All right. I will finish today. I hope I convinced you guys to join that. It's free, more than free. It's just whatever you guys would like. If there's some topics that I didn't cover and you would like me to expand, we haven't really actually did. It's the first time I'm showing you a little code. I will go over this code. It's a little hard, okay? And as I said last time, if you really want to learn this code, so it won't be things that I'm saying because I don't really have time to teach you Python, teach you JavaScript or Django. I will assume that you know some. or refer you to SU and OPU. I know they are carrying courses in Django, which include all of those. So talk to them. Maybe you can register to their classes. They are very inexpensive, as I know. And join the team and be part of this. By the way, one last thing that I want to emphasize here. And usually this one you don't have in development. This is something that we enhance Django with. For example, this example that you see here, okay, you will see that there's a button here. You see this button? If I click on it, it does something. It's already start calculating stuff. Okay, it found the calculation. But we did something very special, that we put the JavaScript right in here. So you can find your code very fast. If you look at what ChatGPT have done, it gave you the code, but it gave you everything together as a mixed up. By the way, when I finished, I took the ChatGPT code and split it to the right places. Okay? Like, for example, this one, I put in the right place. Okay? So I have a mechanism to develop these things. By the way, if you can see here, we have the agent that it did for me. By the way, here we go. You see, let me make it a little bigger so you can see it. This is the environment that it did for me. I just literally copied from it, but I knew where to put it. So it's be organized nicely. And the environment goes up to here. This is the end of the environment. Then it's beautifully organized for me. I have the agent. We'll talk about them next week. Okay. I put here the agent. Okay. The agent is almost all of them, or the second part. And as you can see, we're in the end of the agent. And then I put this one right here. So if I want to find it, I don't go anywhere. I would come here. Okay. And then I put where it starts and where it's ending. I can change that. It will change the places. And then later on, we'll talk about those functions. Start training. You see this function? Start training. This is the function that I literally copied from ChatGPT. It doesn't belong to the environment. You can see it somewhere here. See, it takes you time to find it. Why is I probably in the improvement training, I probably call it start training. Okay, so this is the function that you take and you activate, but I know where to put it in the right place so I can develop very fast. Moreover, when I work with someone else and we work together, it's all online. I don't need to give him my code. It's already online. You cannot access it because your user ID and password we gave you, you can only utilize it. You cannot program. One day, if you get to a really high level and you join us, you're more than welcome. It will be a blessing. You will be able to actually change the code. When we're building up all the other next example, and let me just do the last things, okay? And I will demonstrate that for you. If I want to extend, pay attention. As of now, if you go to the website, you will see up to 5. If I want to add one more, I will just click here. I will add NLP. That's something we're going to talk about in the future. Okay? And I might even delete it. Bingo. It will add it automatically for me. I will have a new page. I'm developing online. I can start it here and I can ask someone of you. One day I hope to get to there. Okay? And you guys can no, I didn't do the right things. And now I will find it. Here we go. I'm going to change this to number 6 and NLP. Okay, that's going to be the next one of the topics. I want to put before that other topics. Okay, but that's, by the way, I just developed in the class the website. You will see, you can go home. Okay, let me write 6 next to it. So you can see the number 6 next to it. Okay, this capability of taking a code using ChatGPT and moving it to the right places, so my development going to be developed so fast, that's a big thing that I really encourage you to get to this level, look for jobs in this industry. And I don't think there's many people in Uganda or in East Africa, even I should say, that have this knowledge. And that's a blessing for you guys. Okay, I will stop here. I don't want to take more time. I think I already passed the hour that I wanted. And if you have questions, you're more than welcome. Go ahead, guys, before we conclude. Anyone? Don't be shy, guys. Don't be shy. Go ahead.
Thank
Any
you so
question?
much. Let me hope you are able to hear me. My
Go
name
ahead.
is Richard Kent, and I happen to be a still graduating student from Victoria University. Been doing computer science, a bachelor's degree. So my question is, how long is this course gonna take us so that we can
Say again.
prepare
I couldn't hear
accordingly?
the last. You were breaking. Go ahead.
My question is, how long is this course gonna take so that we can prepare
It's
accordingly?
an excellent question. I hope it will never end. What do I mean? We will cover a lot of very important topics. And once a week, that's why I don't want to take it more than an hour. Today was a little longer. But, and then eventually, when you guys get to a nice level, we will take a topic and we develop it together. And I'll be very happy to see you guys getting to a level, let's say another 3 months, 5 months, and you guys develop a project, a real projects together, and have a lot of people joining. That's the objective of this one. And I believe more and more students will join this trip. Honestly, there's very few places in the world teaching courses like that. And lucky you guys. And I really hope that you guys will pick on it. So to be straight to your question, I think in 3 months, you will get to a really nice level. If you already have knowledge in programming, you'll get a hell of a lot in the next 3 months. And then we'll take other projects. I will always cover more additional, but it's never end. Just think about it. This is a topic that is like the ocean. There is so much to learn. People finishing PhD in computer science and they still have a lot to learn. So, and that's what the short answer is, within 3 months, we'll cover a lot of the topics that I would like to. After that, we'll start dealing with specific cases. Some of the cases I will revisit. Like reinforcement learning, I can teach a course for a whole year, just that example. There is, I can solve it in dynamic programming. I can solve it in the way I'm going to present to you. There is Bellman equation. There are so many ways you can do. So I hope I answered your question. Okay, guys, thank you very much. I just want to tell you, have your friend join, okay? You can join as many as you want, guys, okay? Have your friends, tell them it's for free. I hope the more you learn, the more you make me happy, guys. Have a good one.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.